From your local election headquarters, this is Big Country Politics on KTAB.
All right, talking downtown with Steve. Steve, this hotel is not cheap. It comes at a price. How are we paying for this?
It's a $66 million project, so it is a very substantial project. And the deal to put it together, as we mentioned, it's taken about 3.5 years to do it. City Manager Robert Hanna has really created a model, I think, that will be looked at from other communities. It's a true public-private partnership. And again, when I was looking at this community to come here, that's one of the things that jumped out is the way that this community handles public-private partnerships, and the public sector comes together with the private sector and just gets things done, and that's what's happened with this hotel.
So there is some point of contention, obviously. Are the taxpayers literally paying for someone to make money?
Not at all. You know, a big misconception about the money, the public funds that are going to the hotel, there's a big misconception, I think, about the nature of these funds. The vast majority of the funds, the public funds that are going to the hotel, can only be used in the downtown area for convention and hotel industry purposes. So it's not monies that can be redirected to streets.
Like we can't go do street repairs, yeah.
Yes, exactly. So I think that's a big misconception out there.
Okay. And this money is going to be paid back with a lot of it will be paid back with the hot tax, which is the hotel occupancy tax. So the state legislature approved it with the help of Stan and Don and
Yes,
Don Buckingham.
yes.
You know how when you go to the hotel, you got to add about 15%, right? So the state's portion is actually going to stay here.
That's correct, yeah, and I don't believe the project would have been feasible without that. Yeah. So our state legislators have been tremendous in getting that done for us.
And only at that hotel?
And only at that hotel,
It's not like you're going to stay over at the Elegante and pay that and
That's
go
right,
to this.
that's right. So when you check into the hotel, you will still pay the 7% local hotel tax, which stays here in Abilene, and part of that will go back into the project. But the 6% that normally goes to the state, will stay here and will go back into the downtown hotel project to help pay down the debt.
Right. So, like we said, it's not like the city's just writing this big check and didn't think about what they're doing. They're going to get paid back with that money, right?
That's right. Absolutely.
Right. And of course, DoubleTree is not all clear or whatever, right? I mean, they're going to be the developer's going to be investing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The developer will be investing significant resources into the project as well. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so talking, tourism is obviously a huge industry in Abilene. People might not realize it, but there's a lot of people that come to Abilene, try to experience, for instance, the Nickel, the Calf Festival is coming up soon. Those are big deals that are happening in our town, and when those people come here, they're spending money, of course, at our hotels, at our restaurants. All these different things. That's a big industry, and that's kind of the overall goal, is to bring more people, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that the hotel, the prospect of having a place to stay downtown, I think it'll spur even more festivals, more activities going on downtown. And not everyone wants to or can, wants to spend $150 or however much the downtown hotel will be. So they'll stay out still on the interstate or some of the lower, budget hotels, or the limited service, I should say.
Right. Yeah. There was a study done. Talk to me a little bit about that study. It was a big deal, a study. So this hotel, I've seen some people say, oh, in a couple of years it's just going to be empty and all of this. This study, what does that say? Well,
yeah, absolutely. We're not just kind of spitballing this thing together. The studies have been done. There actually have been two hotel industry, hotel market studies done. The first one was done by a company named Jones Lang LaSalle, one of the largest real estate companies in the country. They said that we could support the hotel here in Abilene. The second one was actually an investment grade market study, meaning that the brokerage houses look at that when they make their determination for bond issuances and things. That one was conducted by a company called CBRE, which again is one of the leaders in the commercial real estate industry. So These are very well respected analysts that have done this work, and everything points toward a successful hotel and a strong market, and even I believe we'll see potentially even more smaller boutique hotels and maybe some short-term rental options in the downtown to complement the hotel.
And we do have great hotels already in our city. On the I-20 corridor south, we've got some great hotels. The goal is not to negatively impact those. We think that everything's going to be great with those, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Again, different people have different preferences. Some people prefer a limited service hotel where they can park right closer to their room. Others prefer more of a four-star type treatment. So we want to have a wide variety of offerings for everyone when they come to visit Abilene.
Very good. And I want to talk just kind of, are there any other misconceptions that you think people are getting out of this hotel?
I think the largest one is just a fact of where the funds are coming from and how those funds, again, they're very specific and they can't be used in other areas of the city.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot, about keeping and retaining young professionals here in Abilene. Do you think that this is going to be a driver as well? Absolutely.
Again, we expect, some spin-off development to occur, restaurants, retail shopping, and things of that nature. These are the things that people want when they look for a place to live. They want activity, they want vibrant nightlife and things, and so that's what we're trying to create downtown. And we think that that will spur some additional apartment development. It already has, actually. And so we're hoping to really increase our housing stock downtown and to attract those younger people who might currently work downtown, but they don't really have an opportunity to live there.
Okay. All right, Steve, thank you so much for your insight on downtown overall. It's beneficial to hear that side as well, so thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you, Travis.
We'll be back in 2 minutes right here on Big Country Politics.